Welcome, friends. This is Donny, Pastor Donny from Harvest Baptist Church and from Fresh Fire Church, in case you know my name, in case you know my face. But anyway, I'm here today and going to have a chat today with Pastor Adam about what God is doing and the great things that are happening over at the, I like to say new facility, but it's not really a new facility. It's actually the Destiny Dream Center. And I'm excited about what God's doing there, and I just wanted to give you an update. I just think it's important for us to be able to see and hear what God is doing and how God is moving. And so, Pastor Adam, it's good to have you with me today.
Hello. I'm here.
Now, Pastor Adam, you were sharing a little bit off mic about how God has been putting all this into place, basically, for a while. You've heard over the last few years that because of things happening with the state and stuff, that we may lose the property here.
Yeah.
That things were going to change, and so this has been ongoing for a couple years now.
Yeah, it has.
But you explained to me something that just really struck my attention. Something that you mentioned even from your Sunday sermon. What has brought this to the crucial point? What has brought this to the point where either it has to or it has or not? What's going on?
I'll say first. I'll speak to the natural part of it, and then I'll share with you what God said through the Word on Sunday. That basically the building that we're in, we don't own. Okay. So knowing that we were going to be moving on, the building, the owner of the building put it up for sale because it was for sale before we ever moved in. And whenever we needed a building, they've let us use it all this time. And, never charged rent or anything, just let us use it and make the changes we wanted. And but then once we knew we were moving on, they thought they were going to try to sell it because the state had dragged their feet. We really aren't still sure if they're going to take it or not. So it finally sold. And when the person who bought it, they paid cash, so it didn't have to go even through a long 6 to 8 week escrow period. It's just, it is what it is, and they wanted us to be out in 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah, and those weeks have clicked by, and actually 3 weeks from yesterday, well, we're recording this on the 4th, but 3 weeks from the 3rd, we have to be out, and we have a truck coming and we're moving. So this has been a relatively quick turnaround, and we are not ready at the other building. The floor is not laid, the ceiling is not back in, the plumbing is not finished. There's still electrical work because we were planning on moving the end of October, 1st of November. And so it's caused us to we're going to be having church there no matter what.
Okay.
But it's not going to be done. And so it's had me a little anxious.
I can see why. I can.
Wondering what we're going to do. And then Sunday, I was sharing a message that the Lord had given me out of Isaiah 40, familiar scripture to everyone, 28 through 31. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings as eagles. Will run and not be weary. Will walk and not faint. And God started really just sharing with me about Him renewing our strength, and about waiting. And I know one of the things that we hate the most is waiting on God. We hate waiting on anything,
You're right.
If we, like I told the church Sunday, if we put something in the microwave, we stand and wait on it.
Yes, we do.
We don't even go sit down. We just stand there it's going to make it go faster or whatever. We go through fast food, and if it takes any amount of time, I get impatient.
Guilty.
There have been times I've wanted to throw the food back through the window.
Mm-hmm.
We have that mentality, that mindset nowadays with smartphones and everything else. We want it now.
Yes.
We don't have, in our society, in the world, we don't have to wait really for much. But when it comes to kingdom principle, you do. It's still seed time and harvest. And seed time and harvest doesn't happen all at the same time.
True.
And so God still is the same. The Bible says He's the same yesterday, today, and forever, and so we have to wait. And I guess through all of this, we were planning on moving. When we were moving, the building hadn't sold all this time, and I thought we're good. It's not going to sell. And so when it sold, I was glad, for the owner, but at the same time I knew we're in trouble. And it wasn't until God really gave me this message that I was able to share it with the church in a way that it was an encouragement to them, and I think everyone was panicking, and I think they could see the panic in my face. Because I thought, oh my goodness, we're not going to have bathrooms. I'm not going to, what are people going to think when they walk in, and this thing is like still a shell, And I was watching football last Thursday night, preseason Steeler game, and the Lord, I just was thinking, it went on halftime, and I was contemplating going to bed because we had to be up early and the next day, and the Lord just said, I started really thinking about, why do millions of people watch it? And they were talking about the national anthem controversy a little bit during halftime, and I started thinking, how it's a divisive issue and that, but why are so many people tuning in? Like, regardless, that's a 3.5, 4 hour chunk of anyone's day, anyone's evening. What makes it exciting? And I was sitting there thinking, what is it that draws people in? And it's not the stadium. It's not, even though the Steelers is the best team in the NFL, I don't care where you're from. And if you're from New England, you can just click off now because, no. But, I love the Steelers, and all that, but I thought it's not even the team. It's not the cheerleaders. It's not any of the, any of that. And it was just like, it was literally like the Lord was speaking to me. It was just, it was awesome. And the Lord just said, just as clear as I'm sitting here talking to you, he said, Adam, what makes it as exciting as I put a clock on it.
Ooh.
And I really started thinking about it. And now God didn't set up football, don't get me wrong, but what God was showing me is that what really makes a football game exciting is the clock. It's starting at, you got 4 halves, 4 quarters, and then you get to halftime, and it's always in the final moments of any quarter or half or the end of the game. You get that 2-minute warning that you'll see players pull off some of the best plays of all time because they see that clock and they know every second counts, and it's as if God, for our church, when this building sold, I was waiting for everything to be perfect. I was waiting for the carpet to be in the ceiling, all of that, and letting everyone just walk into a completed vision. And the more I've thought about it, even driving today, I thought, was I failing as a leader?
Okay.
Because I was going to let the people who haven't even shown up yet. There's people that haven't even darkened the door of the new building, haven't been over, and they're going to walk in there and see a brand new spanking, and they don't understand the work,
Yes.
the labor, the prayer, the finances. And it was just like today I got a piece in saying, that I would have been doing them an injustice.
Oh, okay.
And it's as if God put a clock on this, and he said, you were waiting for everything to be perfect, you were waiting for it to just be so, and everyone to see the pretty version. But God would just want to remind me that, one, that ministry isn't always pretty.
True.
Life isn't always pretty.
True.
That, in order for some people to catch a vision, they got to see it before it's completed. And so God put a clock on this thing and said, you're either going to believe me or you're not.
Oh, yes.
The scripture says, they that wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. And this has really required me to wait on God. To, and that's what's backwards about the situation is here the calendar was moved up, and every day that goes by that I don't get everything done that I want to get done, I feel like, oh, I'm in big trouble. The truck's coming no matter what. That day we have to move. There's no more time. And so while it's a time where every day counts, I'm in a position where I can do nothing but wait.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a situation where either the money's there or it's not. And so it's backwards. It's like the time is short, but I have to wait on God.
Yeah.
And so what God did for our church is he said, I'm going to put a clock on it because you're going to delay this thing until it's perfect. God wants to show us he's still God.
Yes.
No matter what.
Yes.
All the time. He's still God, and it's in his timing. We've had that building now for over a year. It's going on 1.5 years we've owned that building.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Since last May of 2017. And we've been taking our time, doing it as the money was available and doing it as I had the help to do. And it was just like God said, nope, you're going to do it before you're going to do it when I tell you to do it, not whenever you decided it's the right time. And he just pulled the rug out, and I'm 3 weeks away from being moved in, and we don't have offices ready. We don't got nothing ready.
Well, we were just over there today looking
Yeah.
at it, and you've mentioned a couple things. You've mentioned a word I've heard you mention a couple times today. You mentioned the word vision.
Mhm.
Now, you've been in this building for 7 years, correct?
Yeah.
Now, has the vision changed, or is God expanding it, or is this just the next step in a vision?
The vision hasn't changed. The vision has evolved, I'll say.
Okay.
It's widened, it's expanded, but the vision statement that I put out 3 months into our church is still the same.
Okay.
Everything that was ever on that vision, I've never edited that statement. It's all, there's several things that are on it, and it remains. And part of it's being a hub or a center for our community. All of that we're a place that people know that they have access to, a place where they can get healing or mentorship or whatever. Everything on that vision statement is and is a part of who we are. There's been some turns and some things that have evolved or changed a little bit, but the vision stayed the same. It's not changed. I believe our assignment God has given us has remained specific.
Okay.
And while we'll take some detours and he'll widen that out because as the ministry grows, the vision has to grow to sustain that too. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like you have to be careful, because I think as a pastor, I'm not saying that it hasn't changed because I've seen it all, but that I also constructed that vision in such a way that I made it that it was what I knew God had for us. But I know that as the church grows, we have to keep growing the vision, because you never want the church to get bigger than the vision.
Okay.
And I think sometimes we do. The minute that you're not looking forward for anything, or you're not working toward anything, or there's nothing to work toward, you've outgrown the vision.
Yeah.
And I think
Very
that's
true.
a mistake that a lot of us make in ministry, is we look at it as, we achieved. And a building is not the vision. That building sitting
Yes.
over there,
True.
100,000 square feet, 10 acres of ground, and all the stuff that comes with it, that is not the vision. The
Just-
vision has to do with the people.
Yes.
That's just a
tool.
building.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's part of what we're going to use to facilitate the vision. But we could use a tent. I don't need the building. It's just the building became available. And a lot of preachers, leaders, church people, and I've had people here say, things about, I'm glad that the vision came forward. Well, be careful by understanding it that way, because this building doesn't mean the fulfillment of the vision. What this building means is now the real work begins.
Yeah.
That's what it means. Because to have that building and to maintain it and to keep up with the expenses of it, you have to work the vision, or else it won't pay for itself.
No,
know?
you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Speaking of the vision, back to the vision. A lot of people don't realize the full name of this church.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people just call it Fresh Fire or Fresh Fire Church, but it's actually Fresh Fire Church, School of Ministry, and Training Center.
Yeah.
So I know that part in the vision is more than just a church, a building where you come and you have a Sunday service or a Wednesday service and woo,
Yeah.
There's more to it. And I know part of the vision, I've been a part of this church almost since day one.
Yeah.
And I remember being here, I think, on your first or second anniversary and coming and speaking, and I've seen, if you've never been here to this building, and you see what has been accomplished through this small piece of real estate. I look at it when you get to this, and you said 100,000 acres, or 100 acres. Well, Lord,
Yeah.
100,000 square feet, 10 acres. You've been able to accomplish just in this small piece of real estate. I see that as a greater opportunity for the vision to be fulfilled. It's not. You're right. It's not the vision. The building isn't the vision, but the building is that vehicle to accomplish even more.
Yeah.
You can do even more with that building than what you could do here. You're very limited.
Yeah.
And you always have been.
Yeah.
But yet that hasn't stopped the vision.
Right.
And yet you keep going, and I just think it's amazing. Like, so we were there even today and met with plumber.
Yeah.
It was a plumber. Yeah. And just as I was even looking around and I saw some of the different things you were showing me, some of the different things, the potential of this building.
Yeah.
If we don't do something with it, it's not God's fault.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
God's placed something in your hands, and He says He's put that timetable on you, and He says, now let's go.
Yeah.
So explain kind of the vision of what's your dream, or what do you see God accomplishing in this facility, besides it just being a church.
Oh yeah. There's so much, and that's where the vision has evolved. Where I knew that we would be helping people, and I knew that we do our food outreach and that, but it's evolved in that now it's going to be branching out into veterans, and it's going to be branching into addiction recovery. And I don't want to duplicate what others are doing. True. But I want to make sure that what people are doing is working, and if it's not, then we're going to put together something that works with people who know
Yes.
what they're doing. And
Yes.
so that's the goal. And so I've sort of been looking at either if it won't be our program, it's going to be somebody's program that works. Gotcha. Working with us. Well, obviously the Bible college and the training, because a lot of that's been on hold because of this year and the busyness and the boxing up, and we don't have anywhere to hold a conference this year. We don't have any of those things, and so and everything right now, literally, we're sitting here looking at mountains of boxes. So the whole training center and college and all that will get to be what it was always intended to be. Mm-hmm. Right now we're looking into possible actual Christian schooling, okay. Which is, whenever God showed me the educational part of our church and ministry, I never really considered that. I just thought, but then the community is like, hey, are you going to offer this? And when they're asking and I see a need, and I realize, like, here we are right in the middle of where there's this need and people desire another type of education, so we're looking into that. But one of the things that I don't want to overlook is, under the umbrella of what you opened with, the Destiny Dream Center, is what all of that's going to really operate under. This is still Fresh Fire Church.
Yeah, yes.
But the building itself is going to be labeled sort of as Destiny Dream Center. And the reason is because we want to help to rehabilitate people. We want to help them to recover from whatever. That's just my heart, is that if it's a woman that's recovering from being in a battered marriage, or being raped, or molestation, or you name it, that we just want to rehabilitate people and lead them on a life of recovery. And so we want them to reach their destiny. We want them to fulfill their dreams, and we want that to be the center that it happens from. So there's a lot of moving parts to it all, and it needs to be a center that can work with the child, the parent, the single person, the veteran, and we have the space to do that,
Yes.
And so under the umbrella of Destiny Dream Center, there's going to be a lot of those things happening, from the veterans to counseling. Counseling's a big part of where my heart lies.
Yes.
And I don't get to do a lot of it anymore, but I love to counsel, mm-hmm. and walk with people in their journey. And I think that's a big area where the church can help people,
Yes. Yes.
To reach their destiny, to fulfill their dreams, right there, with the Destiny Dream Center, So, and when people come there to the wing of the Destiny Dream Center, they could be coming for a variety of reasons. When you're sitting in the waiting room, you don't know, are they an addict? Was she a prostitute? Are they a veteran? Or are they there for training? Or are they there for teaching? You're never going to know, because there's that much that my heart is to be going on,
Yes.
And so it becomes a safe place.
Yes.
That's
very important, it being a safe place, because there's a lot of hurt going on. If you listen to the news, even within the church, there's a lot of hurt. So for it to be a safe place where people can come in and receive the hope that can only be found through Jesus. Man will fail us. People fail us. We fail ourselves.
Yeah.
But in the midst of it all, there's always that hope that Jesus brings. And through the center of, whether it be addiction recovery or veterans help or whatever it is, Jesus is always going to be the core center.
Yeah.
And I know that if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't be here with you.
Right.
So
right.
I believe that Jesus, because he's the only hope really that anyone
That's
has. You can have addiction recovery. If you leave Jesus out, there really is no hope.
Right.
It sometimes works.
Right.
But the track record, if you look at statistics, track records show that when you bring Jesus in as the focus,
Right.
then the success rate jumps.
Right.
And so I know that's going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Through the midst of all this, I know you can't do it alone. This is not a vision. This vision is greater than you.
Yeah.
This vision is greater than even Fresh Fire Church.
Yeah.
And this vision is something that if some people don't realize the impact worldwide that this ministry has through the media and through podcasts and TV and internet, YouTube channel, all these things. This ministry is reaching around the world, and so this vision is bigger than you. Because if God's vision isn't bigger than me, then it can't be from God.
Right.
I have to believe that.
Right.
And so this vision isn't something.
I'm sorry. If it's not bigger than us, then we don't need God.
That's what
right. And so
yeah.
And that's why it has to be. That's why even the word says, write the vision down, make it plain.
Yes.
Because it's something you're always working towards, working for. I was just told a pastor the other day, he was called and complained about his church, and I was in one of those moods, brother. And I just said, just as clear, I said, well, have you prayed? Because he said, please pray for me. And we had just talked about this, I think, on another podcast. And I said, have you prayed? And he's like, well, I've been too angry to pray. I said, well, you pray, and then you call me back. I said, because I'm not praying you through. If you're not willing to pray for yourself. But he called to complain about his church, and it's just like, the vision has become stagnant, that people aren't working towards it. But yet what it had become was that the vision really wasn't clear, and it was no longer talking about it. It's just like, the help's not there, you're not getting volunteers. Well, you have to keep vision in the forefront of people's minds and hearts at all times.
You do.
And remind them of it and teach on it, and so that they don't just have a vision for the church, but they have a vision for themselves, a dream for themselves.
Yes.
And that's one of the mistakes we made. So he called me back like an hour later, and I said, I prayed, and I said, Ann, so I feel a little better. And I said, well, see what I mean?
Praise God.
But I got to then share with him about vision and why it was so important. And I said, the people aren't rallying because you're not giving them a reason to rally.
Yeah.
You're not presenting the need. You're not putting it out there. And that's really what it's all about. We rally, we put the need out there. And the vision has to be bigger than your pastor, your staff. This vision is so much bigger than even the team we have working.
Yeah.
The vision is monstrous compared. That building swallows our church 100-fold.
Mm-hmm.
That new sanctuary is as big as our whole current building. That's just an idea.
Wow.
So, it swallows us and it dwarfs us so much, and that we can't even clean it on our own. We're going to have robot sweepers having to operate because there's not enough people to clean,
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah.
That you're right. But as the vision is bigger than you, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast today, was to share the vision, and also to let people know what they can do to be a part of that vision. Because this doesn't just affect Fresh Fire Church. This isn't just a Fresh Fire Church thing, because it is reaching out around the community, around the county, around the world.
Right.
And so how can people connect with this vision and be a part of it? And I believe in sowing into good ground. When you sow into good ground, you reap good fruit.
Right.
If you plant a cactus in where I'm from, in Grantsville, or if it's just not going to make. You can't plant an orange tree there either. It's just not going to make it. So you have to make sure you have the right vision in the right soil. So how can people connect with the vision and be a part of it, whether it be financially or whether it be through putting their hand to the plow? What can they do to help?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, we need workers. That's for one, and I know there's people that are looking for a church. That's one. And don't look for an opportunity. I'm not looking for people who are looking for an opportunity.
Okay.
Looking for people who want to connect with something that's bigger than them.
Okay.
We all can. There's always opportunities. available. I've had opportunities, and I'd be bigger and better off probably, in a lot of ways, you think. But we need people who are looking for, to build the kingdom, that they want to be a part of something that's, about the kingdom. Not our kingdom, not this kingdom here on earth, but about God's kingdom. And so we need workers. And so I believe that there will be people that are going to be called alongside of us to work.
Yes.
That God will send people, whether they play an instrument or they can teach a class, or they're called to be a pastor or whatever. I believe there are those people. I've said for a long time, there's been people that have worshiped with us for a while. They've left. And there's some that'll come back, and I believe that they had to go for a season, but they'll come back, and we've seen that begin.
Yes.
So I believe we'll be some of those, but I do believe workers of all kind. There'll be people that may not even know why, they just feel drawn because they don't know yet. It's hard to really identify where you're going to be called or what you're called to until you're working in the midst of it.
Yeah.
And so I believe there'll be some that'll just be drawn, and they'll just say, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here to aid. I'm here to help. So much of the vision, I was walking over there last week, and I just walked back through the woods just a little bit. And I said, Lord, what are we going to do with this? And I've had my ear on the property that comes against us. And I want to so badly be able to purchase that other property. It's another 20 acres. And then, I shouldn't even be sharing this right now, but but then what I want to be able to do is have just a small retreat available for pastors and leaders to go. They can just rent one of the cabins or whatever that's there.
Yeah.
Walk around the pond and just enjoy, just get away, just escape, Not be up at the offices and in the building we are, just away.
Yeah.
Just a place to sort of escape, and let that be part of what we sow back into lives in churches. Like, they don't have to pay for it. They don't have to, just come, and just rest and enjoy and swim in the pool and, whatever, So that's a extended part of the vision. But so in order to do all of this right now, whether it's the building and to keep up with TV and to keep up with reaching lives and feeding the poor that we do every month and do all of that, it takes money. And I mean, in the last 2 months, now we're going into the third month, we have seen the greatest downfall of giving in the history of this church. So here we are.
I say but
here we are at the most pivotal moment of everything, and the giving has dropped, partly because of attendance is down, and you're getting back into school and all these things, and you're rounding up summer. But I mean, it's dropped drastically compared to other years, and I'm just like, well, God, what you gonna do? Because I can sit here and I can police the flock, and I can do that, and like other preachers do. But the idea is it takes money, it takes people, it takes all of that, and so people can give, and they can be a part of it, and they can give to something that's bigger than them, that's bigger than us, and they can check out the website and see what we do and whether they believe it's worth it or not, and connect and be a part. But from this little tiny building that we're in, from Briar Hill, Pennsylvania, a place most people have never even heard of, but if you say Uniontown, a lot of people know that. God's allowed us to reach around the world and hear from multiple countries, and broadcast to all over the world, and then open TV, and we started on radio, and now we're podcasting, and and impact lives of people I've never met on social media. People that send emails and they're breaking down crying because of something I posted, or they'll call for prayer. The hundreds, literally boxes of prayer requests that we have, and the binder of testimonies that's back there. Those are things that, like, just within the four walls of the church, I would never see in 7 years. And so we've been able to see in 7 years what most churches, it takes a lifetime.
True.
And it's been a blessing. And so, but it takes so much. And what people don't realize is, when we say we reach around the world, that doesn't mean we're receiving tithes and offerings from around the world.
No.
I can literally count on my hands the number of faithful people that give outside of this church.
Wow.
Literally, with on both hands, because that's what it is. But God will take little and He makes it much.
He sure does.
And God allows this church to operate on a budget. I'm not even ashamed to say it. Our total budget here at this church is just over $4,000 a month. That's what we have to have. And we do all of this.
Yeah.
We're running a brand new 100,000 square foot building on $4,300 a month. That's what my current budget is. Now, we haven't turned the heat on over there yet. Once we turn the heat on, that budget from $4,300 goes to $6,300.
Yeah.
So, that's a chunk of money.
It is.
When you're in a small building right now, moving into a larger, and I'm not asking people to give to pay our heating bill. I'm asking for people to give to change lives.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking people to give for. That's what it's about. Everything we do is about people.
Yes.
People. This vision is not about the building. If that building burns down, fine, we'll build another one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about the size. I won't build another one that big, unless it's necessary, But it's about people.
Yes.
The whole thing.
The lights being on, all those things. It's not about the building. It's about the people, and I agree. So they can go. I know they can go to freshfirechurch.net. And they can go to the donate page there, and they can make a special gift into the Destiny Dream Center.
Yeah.
They can mark it for that. It'll go specifically to that project.
Yeah.
They can do that. Another thing they can do is they can actually support. They can become a patron. If they're listening here on Podbean, they can become a patron. It's very simple. $5, $15, $25 a month. They can just say, you know what, I'm going to stand with this ministry,
right,
to get the word out, to get the gospel, the good news around the world. And I've seen over, because I do a lot of this, if folks don't know, and I see the statistics. As a matter of fact, today I was looking and just seeing, not just in this country, but all the different countries over the last 30 days that our website and that our podcasts and YouTube has touched. And it would blow most people's minds. Yeah. And so you're not sowing into a building, you're sowing into the vision. I believe that. And so they can become a patron, or they can go to freshfirechurch.net and go to the donate page there and stand behind this ministry. They can also email us, say, hey, what's your church like? How can I help? How can I be a part of that? Mm-hmm. I feel drawn. Maybe if God's just even now just drawing them to be a part of this vision, let us know. Give us a call. Email's probably better right now because we're in and out and boxes and stuff. But if God's drawing you, let us know, and we'll connect you. We'll connect with you, and we'll find out and give you directions to the new facility, and we'll just make it a part, and hopefully you can come and be a part and connect with the vision of touching lives.
Amen.
Through that.
I told the church Sunday as I closed after I shared the message, and I brought the whole word back around to the vision, but I told the church, as they gave their tithes and offerings Sunday, that I wanted them, instead of it being a tithe and offering, that it was a down payment on their dream.
Okay.
And everybody should have a dream,
yes,
for their life, no matter how old or how young or what your financial situation is. Have a dream. And whatever your dream is, know that sometimes your dream intercepts with someone else's, and together you're able to accomplish it. So for everyone that out there that has a dream, sow and make a down payment on your dream. Say, Lord, as I'm giving, I'm making a down payment on mine, that I don't see the money in the bank, I don't even have the help that I need, but I'm going to give to this as a down payment for my dream. And just believe God, because God's a God of multiplication.
Yes, He is.
So as you give, He's the one that will multiply the fish and the loaves of bread and make it enough.
Amen. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
No, I would just encourage people to, connect in all the ways they can, so that they can understand this in its fullness, because it's hard. Here we are, 30 couple minutes in, and it's hard to really snapshot everything that's happening and to understand the whole move and why it's all happening and where we're going, and that it's hard to do that in a short amount of time. And so if you're connected on social media with us, or even through the website and getting our weekly emails, you'll really be able to stay updated on what's going on and the order of things happening, because September 17th is the day we move. And
ready or not, here we come.
Yeah, exactly. And so between now and then, that's really the main mode of communication, is that, because we don't have a lot of time to do our little Facebook Live videos, and there's not a lot of, opportunity for a lot of that. So the best way to get communication is through the email.
Yes.
That we send out every week or a couple times a week, and I would just encourage people to sign up for it so they know what's going on and they can keep up with us and know where to find us.
Absolutely. And they can do that right from our homepage at freshfirechurch.net. Thank you, Pastor, for your time today, and I just encourage our listeners to check us out, whether it be social media, Podbean, YouTube, or a website. Find out, get that picture, that whole picture of what God's doing here. So thank you, folks, for being a part of this day, and we just pray that the fire of God would consume your life.